The moment my father stood up, the restaurant lights seemed to sharpen. The clinking of cutlery, the hum of polite laughter. It all faded into a low, dull roar behind my ears. He tapped his glass, smiling, the kind of smile that only shows up when he's about to humiliate someone. Everyone, he began, his voice carrying the weight of years of control. We've made a decision. Your mother and I have decided that everything, the house, the business, the accounts, will go to Ryan. He's the only one who's ever made us proud. The table erupted in laughter and applause. My mother dabbed her eyes with a napkin, pretending to be emotional. My brother, Ryan, leaned back in his chair, smirking. I sat there staring at the candle's reflection in my untouched wine glass. I smiled once, small, polite, rehearsed, and said nothing. Then I stood up, placed my napkin neatly on the table, and left. Not a word, not a glance back. But inside me something clicked, a lock turning, a plan forming. Growing up, I was the quiet one, the overthinker, as my dad called me. Ryan was the golden boy, loud, charming, reckless. He crashed 2 cars before 21, got bailed out of every mess, and still, somehow he was their pride. When I started the family business, our logistics company, it was just me in a one-room office with 2 second-hand laptops. Ryan mocked me. My parents laughed it off. At least he's trying, my mother said, like I was some charity. Years later, when the business grew, when we landed real clients, when I finally invited them to the new headquarters, they acted surprised. Wow, my father said, you did something right. They didn't offer to invest, didn't offer to help. But when it started thriving, when it became profitable, they began calling it the family business. And I let them because I was already planning how this story would end. That dinner wasn't spontaneous. My father's text, family, celebration tonight, dress nice, was his way of setting the stage. I already knew what was coming. A week earlier, Ryan had posted a photo of himself signing some papers at Dad's office. The caption read, "Next chapter begins. Legacy secured." I didn't comment, didn't call, just forwarded the photo to my lawyer. Because for the last year, every family asset they thought they controlled, every property, business, share, and bank account had been gradually consolidated under a new holding company, one I owned quietly, legally. I'd started years ago, slowly buying out silent partners and registering assets in ways my father never bothered to understand. He trusted Ryan to handle things, and Ryan trusted me to manage the boring paperwork. Perfect. I remember the night I made the decision. It was after a family argument, where my mother told me, you need to learn to be more like your brother. Confident. You're cautious. Cautious. They meant weak. That night I stayed up, rewriting the articles of incorporation for the company. I replaced every generic clause with a precise structure of ownership that favored the managing director, me. Then I registered a new parent entity overseas, then another one. By the time the business turned 7 figures, every cent flowed through a network only I could access. Still, I played my role. I visited on birthdays, sent gifts, smiled through insults. I made sure no one suspected a thing. When Dad talked about his retirement plan, I nodded. When Mom said, Ryan will carry the torch, I smiled. All the while, the torch had already changed hands. The first domino fell 2 months before that dinner. Dad refinanced the house to expand the family portfolio, except the paperwork went through my company. His mortgage, the deed, even the insurance were under my control. Next came the business. Ryan wanted to modernize operations, so he asked me to help move some of the finances under a new name for tax efficiency. I obliged. The documents he signed transferred controlling interest to me, every signature notarized, every claws airtight. He even bragged to his friends about how I was finally useful for something. Meanwhile, I kept quiet, making sure all transfers were complete. Before the family dinner, the final move was the bank accounts. My parents had always linked their savings to the company's profits. When the holding company changed hands, those accounts became part of the acquisition. They didn't read the fine print. They never did. By the time Dad stood up at that dinner and announced their decision, the irony was already complete. He was declaring ownership over something he no longer owned. 2 days later, my phone buzzed nonstop. The family group chat. The Harris legacy was exploding. Mom, what is this email from the bank? Says the accounts are frozen. Dad, explain this now. Why is the business listed under your name on the registry site? Ryan, bro, tell me this is a mistake. I let it sit for a few hours. Silence always unnerves people more than words. By evening, my father called. 5 missed calls, then 10. Finally, I picked up. His voice was shaking. Furious, desperate. What the hell did you do? I didn't do anything, I said calmly. I just took care of what was mine. It's our business, he barked. Let a small laugh escape. No, Dad. Was your legacy. You said so yourself. You gave it to Ryan. I just made sure. The paperwork reflected reality. He went silent. I could hear him breathing, realizing how deep the trap ran. Can't just I interrupted. And I did. Everything was done legally. Signed the delegation authority forms. Mom witnessed them. Ryan approved the transfers. Every move has your signature somewhere on it. Then I ended the call. 2 minutes later, Ryan sent a final message to the group. Dad, he's telling the truth. The fallout was ugly. They tried lawyers. They tried threats. They even tried guilt. But every document, every transfer, every form was perfectly executed. The company's ownership structure was final. The house mortgage was under my trust. The savings accounts were absorbed, and there was nothing they could do. Weeks later, I drove past their house. The for sale sign was crooked in the front yard. Ryan's car was gone. My father's prized boat sat in the driveway, half covered, forgotten. I parked a block away, rolled down the window, and just breathed. Not joy, not triumph, peace. Because revenge, when done right, doesn't roar. It hums quiet, precise, inevitable. They taught me that family pride mattered more than fairness. That I'd always be second best, that silence meant weakness. So I used silence as a weapon. I let them believe their own delusions until it was too late to undo them. And when they laughed that night, when they toasted Ryan for being the only one who ever made them proud, I realized something. They were right. It did make them proud. I made them pay attention. Now when they think of family legacy, they think of me. Not because I inherited it, but because I took it. And in the end, the loudest revenge is silence.